We're now on Dow 26,000. Watch major indices pointing to another day of gains as more companies report giving bonuses, pay hikes to employees in the wake of this sweeping tax overhaul. Joining us now to weigh in, and he brought buckets of cold water. I'm just kidding. The co-host of The Five, Juan Williams.
Good
Juan, what do you make of this? It's good. Come on, it's good news for all Americans, is it not? More than 90% of workers are going to see bigger paychecks. You've got more than 2 million people in this country are going to get bonuses of some sort from their companies. How is this bad?
It's not bad. I mean, what you're talking about is a tax plan that's very unpopular because it rewards the very rich and the corporations in a disproportionate manner. And I think what's interesting to me politically, which is where I tend to focus, is that President Trump ran saying he was going to look out for the forgotten man and woman. He said he was going to do away with carried interest, for example. None of that's delivered on, and yet he says this is a good bill.
If you were fixated on just carried interest, though, that you're looking at a tree rather than the entire forest. One, I think that, and I made this point yesterday, and it remains to be seen if it bears out in the midterm elections, in the polling of this tax reform. But Americans understand that this corporate tax cut, and you've seen how companies are already, to more than 2 million individuals, passing on the savings from the corporate tax reform to the workers. People understand that it's important for the company that I work for to be healthy and prosperous, and I will ultimately benefit from that, whether it's through hiring higher wages or even one-time bonuses.
Right,
in the instance of
but let's
many...
speak to that point. American corporations are healthy right now. We're doing great. And I think that's why you hear from corporate leaders that what happened in the tax plan is not necessarily going to incentivize them in terms of expansion or added infrastructure investment.
We have heard that. We have absolutely heard that from myriad companies.
Well, you hear it from a company here and there, especially right now. Consumer confidence, very high. Stock market, out the roof. Thank you, President Obama. But what we have here is no, are you kidding?
No,
who put in place this recovery?
Juan, I will give you this. The bull market run started in March of 2009. That was right after President Obama took office. I will give you that. It was a record-breaking run.
It hasn't ended.
I know, but the reason that this market keeps chugging, and you can't deny how much the market's gone up since the election, a little more than a year ago, since the inauguration in the last year. And the reason that you're seeing these kinds of numbers now is because of the tax reform, and Republicans get credit for that.
So,
it's a John, come in here.
I just want to make one point about giving credit and blame to presidents. You say who put in place this recovery? Well, the bank bailouts, which were at the center of this whole recovery plan, were signed into law by President Bush. They weren't signed into law by President Obama. Now, I'm not saying that President Obama had nothing to do with it, but you got to be real careful about giving credit and blame because there are a lot of factors that were in play.
I'm not trying to give blame. I'm just saying I think that people who are saying, oh, this is a Trump recovery, boy, they missed a lot of history.
Well, on this program, we've given credit to both President Obama, but what we've seen particularly recently with this tax reform and the rollback in regulations, which has been a huge benefit for corporations since President Trump took office roughly a year ago. That's the reason that you've had this run in the last year, and that you have so much gasoline in the engine of the stock market and the economy, quite frankly, with it growing at 3% plus for 3 quarters in a row.
We keep asking people, and we keep waiting for something to stop, for the momentum to stop, and we're not sure what it is. It used to be North Korea. You'd bring up geopolitical tensions, particularly North Korea, and the market would come down just a little bit. But the buyers came in and any dip was bought. Now we're not even seeing it come in.
No, I think we're covering a ton of sins, and it's just a wonderful moment if you have investments in the market. Most Americans don't have an investment in the market, but the market is doing great. And I think it has ripple effects in terms of, obviously, consumer confidence, as I mentioned before, which then inspires people to say, you know what, I can go out and spend, and most of our economy is a consumer.
There's also an unemployment rate, which is down to 4.1%. It could go under 4%.
Which is expected to go to 3.5% because of the tax reform.
In fairness to one, that unemployment rate has been coming down since 2010. It was at 10%. It's been steadily coming down. It was coming down on Obama, and it's continued to come down.
That's all I'm saying.
Here.
Yeah, but the thing is, wages were stagnant, though, and the analysts, at least the ones I've been listening to here, and I think we have great ones here, have been telling us that wages are likely to go up.
Well, that would be
and
good
that
news.
is a huge benefit.
be
Now
good.
we're really talking about everybody in America being touched by something positive.
Wages stagnant under President Obama, and the economy never grew at a 3% annual rate in any one calendar year under President Obama either. That's something that started under President Bush, but we had 10 years where the economy never grew at 3% in any calendar year.
Right, and it hasn't done it yet, so we'll see what happens.
We're coming on three quarters.
Okay, well,
so.
let's see it. But